Oh, asshole.
She's not wrong. It's him.
Sunshine wasn't very good.
Holy fucking sucks.
Basic.
I don't know if you can hear Camilla. She's just like crapping on the film, basically.
Keep doing that.
This totally understand.
It's dreadful.
Actually, let me just look at the rest of the ratings before I start talking, because I actually haven't looked at the ratings. And oh wow! All right, so Dan, I don't know what his average score is, but he liked the production. Oh, 6.2. So 6.5 overall. Not bad. I got a film in the middle, film at the top, and film at the bottom. I give some good variety.
That's all, man.
Yeah. Ooh, nice playing, Dan. Anyway.
Hey, Pat, do you remember Antichrist?
Pat's face.
I was just waiting for the camera to be covered in vomit.
He's just not acknowledging this. Anyway. Wait, sorry. Pat, what are you watching?
The NFL draft.
Dinner what?
The NFL draft.
Oh, NFL draft. Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Do you really like that, Link?
That's pretty.
It is nice. Anyway, sorry. Getting sidetracked. So, let me turn myself sideways. So, with this film, I realized, can you guys still hear me?
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
Okay. I realized now that I'm older and I know much more about the kind of I say the kind of smaller details about different space science and technology, and I've learned so much since then. I've got even more problems with the film. And before, and this is what I told Camilla as well, a lot of times when I watch films, I kind of don't think too much about a lot of the practicalities and a lot of other things that would just make the film not make sense, like the whole kind of premise of the story, and not trying to even explain something that so the story would make sense, the point of saving the sun. I still enjoyed the film. I still like it. But I did have to give the story pretty, I say bad rating for me. I think I gave it a 6. It's high, I know, for some. I look cool.
Hello.
So kind of opinions about it. But I think it's cool to see it now and to kind of see what you guys think as well. So yeah, you guys can start off. Yeah.
So I think we had the same countdown.
I was about to say, since John's on the clock, he might want to get his opinions out there.
Yeah, it's not a bad shout, actually.
He's on the clock.
Actually, yeah, John, go.
Yeah.
I liked it.
He really is on the clock.
I liked it.
And yeah, John did like it, yeah.
And I don't think whenever you watch a movie, unless there's absolutely nothing in it to tell you otherwise, like I tend to assume that it's not based in our reality. Like, so any science-based things, as long as they don't try and go into too much detail and then kind of fuck themselves on it, I don't think there's a problem with like whether it seems far-fetched or not. Like, because yeah, my first thought when they were like, so the sun's dying, so we're gonna bomb it, and I was like, well, that sounds silly.
America.
I'm just picturing you in like that hypothetical, like just sort of, I don't know, like boardroom. He's like, that sounds a bit silly, guys. Don't know.
Sounds like something Moz would say.
Then later on, when he explains that it's like a mini Big Bang, I was like, I mean, actually, that's not like completely
bullshit
anymore. Like the like the idea of the son dying in the first place is kind of funny. Like obviously that will happen at some point, but I imagine we'll be long gone before then. But again, I don't watch this with the idea that it's our reality or anything like that. I wasn't expecting it to get like horror-esque near the end. Like
Yeah.
I really liked when they get on the Icarus One, where they anytime a light flashes directly at the camera, they like flash images.
Hmm.
I
Oh,
like the way they did that because that's something that, because sometimes I'm not always paying like full attention to the movie, but I'm paying enough attention to like not miss anything. But that's the thing that if I hadn't been paying attention, I would have missed completely because
Yeah.
it only happens at certain moments. But yeah, I thought the story was good. Like thought the characters were really well done. I was about to like bomb the story quite hard near the end because I thought uh, that they weren't gonna show what happened with the last girl and the like weird old captain of the other ship because they showed her and him when the power went back on, and then they didn't show them again, and then he was just going to the bomb, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, are they just not gonna address that at all? And then, okay, it's fucking stupid that they made it into the bomb somehow. Like, there's no explanation for that as far as I can tell. But I was like, okay, fine, whatever. Like, it's still kind of dumb. The the whole god thing, like, I think was a weird choice.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, yeah, the sun is often a symbol of God in a lot of religions, and like you can. I guess what I would have preferred is that I liked the way that they at first seemed to be going for the typical thing of like, well, not typical, the good thing of you don't know what's real and what's just them kind of going a bit crazy because of the situation they're in.
Hmm.
They were like, oh no, there's this guy that has been there for 7 years. He's real, and like they could have left it at a point where they don't ever confirm it either way, and they leave it up to you to decide if they were all imagining things and they just ended up killing themselves. But I feel like they did too much to make you think that it was real.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, like, I enjoyed the story. I thought it was really good. The characters were compelling for the most part. And yeah, I didn't have a problem with any of it really.
I think the thing for
Yeah.
me is like I thought the concept of it all was I don't know, quite nice, I suppose, because it's quite rare that you see a film about the sun, which I think is quite weird considering that it's like the center of our universe and that kind of thing. Like it's strange that it's like such a weird concept in sci-fi. And I thought there were some interesting ideas in it as well, but I think the thing that kept getting me was just I just kept finding things like really silly, and like some of them were really small. Like one of them was calling the ship Icarus. I was like, this is asking for trouble. Like,
Oh yeah, I forgot about Icarus.
Wait, is my mic cut out? I'm not.
it did a little bit,
You
yeah.
want to join as well? You can join.
I'm
as
gonna
well.
get in the shower.
Yeah, like you don't know that there's a real like Icarus story in their world. So like I feel like that's one of those things that you only pick at if you're already not enjoying it.
I mean, maybe, but I mean, like I said to the others, it's like going to try and refreeze the ice caps in a ship called the Titanic. Like it's just it didn't sit right for me. And yeah, I thought that the characters acted really strangely as well. Like Chris Evans, one for example, like he's like all about the mission and like nothing matters but the mission. And then he has a little rivalry with Cillian Murphy, and then he starts like spiting him, which might jeopardize the mission. And I was like, this is I don't know. It felt like it was two different characters.
No, that's ridiculous. It's like there's a complete difference between your professional brain and your personal brain. Like, yes, everything about the mission and almost everything he did was in aid of them, but it doesn't mean that he's not going to fucking lose his shit. Like they're going crazy. Like he is trying his fucking hardest. Like he was gonna leave himself to die on the other ship, like without question.
But given that sort of up to the point where he started spiting him, like literally it was just like mission. I just didn't believe that the character would do like such a 180 on that.
Yeah.
I mean,
Mm,
as far like it depends exactly what you mean, because all the things that he did to spite him, like none of it would have jeopardized the mission in any way.
yeah, because he kept like it's like John said, he even though they had fights and stuff throughout, he was gonna have him go and risk his own life. He could have floated off and frozen. There's different times when he's just like,
On doing that, they
Hmm?
even before they decided on doing that part, they'd already decided there was one suit and only one person could go, and they were like immediately putting him in it. So like they'd already decided they were all dead apart from him before they decided to do the thing that might have saved the rest of them.
exactly. So
I was
it's yeah. You can carry on, Rob. I'll come in afterwards.
Yeah, no, it's just there was a few things like that for me where I was like, I don't believe that this is the thing that this character would do. And then I mean it's it's not really the
Another
film's fault,
agrees.
but there was loads of points as well where like it was just reminding me of other films that I much prefer. Like the aesthetic really reminded me of 2001. The kind of character dynamics really reminded me of Alien. And then like the horror switch at the end really reminded me of 28 Days Later. And I just kept being like, oh, I'd rather be watching any of these three. Like,
Oh man.
and also as well, like it's not really the film's fault, but like I can't watch people eating dinner in space without thinking that one of them's going to have their chest burst open.
Interesting. Interesting.
what kind of got me a bit was the fact of when they went out the airlock, and they're like, "Yeah, we're just going to wrap ourselves with insulation."
Yeah.
Like, wouldn't you just suffocate as you go out?
I mean,
Not
you
you
can't
wouldn't.
suffocate if you're not breathing.
Is it-
Yeah.
okay.
But that
Yeah.
wasn't the
Yeah.
problem. The problem was they're just wrapping it. It'd be different if they had an airtight suit of
Yeah.
that insulation. That yes, it would still be freaking cold. They can still get frostbite, possibly, but it's more realistic that they could survive if they didn't breathe compared to wrapping it when there's so many tiny air gaps. But anyway,
Yeah, I don't know about that. I was a bit like,
I feel like
the-
if you're going to start picking at the science of a movie, then you like
don't bother.
well, like it depends on the movie, but this is like a movie that immediately starts with the sun's dying and we need
Yeah.
to do something. So already it's like, well, all right, well, this isn't going to be like normal science. It's going to be pseudoscience.
I read apparently they hired Brian Cox as like a scientific advisor, and then they basically ignored everything that he said. and apparently one of the only things that they actually like kept in the film was his suggestion of having a garden on the ship. And I was like, but I don't know, that was one of the few things that I liked about it. Like I
Yeah,
like that
that's-
whole
I don't have a problem with the pseudoscience, but if their idea was to make it as realistic as possible, then they really failed.
Well, I think I was saying to the others, like, I mean, it's I don't mind like taking creative liberties with science and that kind of thing, but equally, I think it's more interesting if you try and work out what would happen with real science.
Yeah, the difference between like something like Interstellar and Sunshine. Interstellar will get all the science minds and work within the confines of what we know to be kind of true at the moment, and then fill in the gaps. Whereas Sunshine took the kind of inspiration of the stuff and just went, "Oh, we're just going to go with this instead." But this isn't the no. Yeah. We like this better. Huh?
On is
What I was going to say? Oh. I turned off the
I think
camera.
it depends on what it is. The like whereas like sometimes it's really cool to like use sort of either current science knowledge or just like predictive stuff of like where we might be. But other times it'd be really fucking boring to be like accurate and it's not fun. Like and I don't know. I don't have a problem with the science in this movie for the most part. Like, yeah, the wrapping themselves in anything wouldn't have stopped them from probably instantly freezing and probably all the liquid in their body being pulled out the moment they got out there. But I don't care.
I think the
Yeah,
thing
it's Oh,
Oh,
sorry.
that's all right, man. I was just gonna say, I think the thing for me is like, if you take something like Star Wars, for example, like I look at an AT-AT and I go like, there's no way that that would like exist in real life. But because Star Wars is like its own thing, like it doesn't really matter. But
Yeah.
with Sunshine, like I think it was like it's realistic enough that I was just kind of going like, oh, I wish you would have thought about what challenges you would have had with like real limitations instead.
Yeah, because the technology, even the technology in the film, literally, we like a lot of the stuff on that in that film, we could either do now or in 10 years' time. So in terms of technology, it wasn't like too far ahead of its time necessarily, in terms of where it's kind of putting itself. In terms of the science, and I think this is, again, I didn't really have too much of a problem back when I first watched it. And this time I watched it, I didn't have too much of a problem until I actually started thinking about it, because Kimberly tends to pick things apart sometimes. And
She's gonna get on with Alec, ain't she?
yeah. And I started like my science mind started kicking in. I was just like, the thing is with this film, if they stayed closer to science, it still would have been good, and it still would have been really cool. Just, I guess, slightly different.
I don't think
So
it worked if they tried sticking to science, because I don't think anything could get like anywhere near the sun ever.
well, technically, like if you have the right things, you could.
Things exist that wouldn't break down but getting like anywhere near the sun. Is there anything in existence that
It's
would
melted.
So Mercury and Venus, it gets crazy hot, but they're not constantly like magma or something like that because of the materials on the planet itself. But saying that,
Atmosphere.
The
atmosphere, right, is preventing them from burning up.
Yeah, there's different things that could, they have like almost no atmosphere, to be frankly honest. But yeah, because of how crazy hot it is. But at the same time, like if the sun was actually dying, Mercury wouldn't be there. The sun would have gotten bigger and enveloped it. Like if for the sun to get dimmer, it has to change color. It would no longer be the orange that we know. And it's just lots of little things. And the kind of bomb thing is actually theoretically kind of possible, but at the same time, it wouldn't have made it brighter. It just would have helped it live longer, but maybe a few hundred years with the amount they had. So
like consider that they're claiming that the technology they're using is effectively a mini Big Bang. When you consider how much energy that would create, like, you know, theoretically, because they're saying that they want to like basically like recharge the sun, but they're saying they want to create a star within a star, like, which that part is dumb, because like I really understand, like,
John, it's all dumb.
Shut up, Alec. I don't know about like the science, but like around stars, but I feel like the only thing that would happen is either they would make a new star that would either get consumed by the sun and wouldn't really make much difference, or it would consume the sun instead if it was bit. I don't see how doing that like make like meshes together. But
yeah,
see a problem the like pseudoscience-y bit of it.
Yeah, that was I kind of ignored the star within the star part and just thought about it in like different terms. So like the idea with any kind of star is that the reason why it's dying is because it's kind of like how it's running out of material basically to keep blowing up, because a star is basically a constant nuclear explosion again and again and again and again and again, over and over again. But eventually the kind of the particles and everything inside the sun run out of energy eventually, and they can no longer be exploded anymore. So introducing more kind of matter into it could, in theory, if you do enough explosions and stuff, could prolong its life for a little bit. So wasn't too, I was like, yeah, I don't have too much of a problem with it. And I just wish they kind of, I guess, I know they wanted to keep it simple and not try to ground it too much in any reality, because then they constrain themselves to a lot of things. So I don't blame them for the direction it went. And like I said, I still enjoyed it. I just, it's a weird one. I don't know, but I like it.
If you're gonna pick at the science, then there's just no point in watching the movie at all, because I just feel like the idea of the sun shield thing is stupid from the start, because like I don't think anything could protect you from the sun within any reasonable distance from it. Like that alone would be silly. So like I don't know. I feel like if you're gonna try and pick it up, there's no point.
Just while we've been talking about this, I googled "Can you fly to the sun?" and one of the headlines is from NASA, and it says it's surprisingly hard to go to the sun. I'm not surprised.
Yeah. Surprised by that.
Oh, I think I've. Oh, sorry, Ben. I didn't realize you were talking. My bad.
No, I just made a bad pun. Don't worry.
Oh, okay. Well, fuck you, Ben.
What was the pun?
I just said it's a very sunny forecast.
Just 20 minutes late. He doesn't get to make bad puns.
I don't even think that really qualified as a pun, but okay. I was gonna say something with like Star Wars. Like I can kind of get that argument, because like Rob said, it's sort of it's like a fantasy kind of story anyway. So yeah, you kind of, you're not really looking at it too much. It's kind of not there for that. But I think with like Sunshine, like obviously like with what John's saying about it's kind of already impossible to do it anyway, and it's like, yeah, like so you've kind of got to give it concessions in that sort of way. But equally, I think that if you're going to then just throw the entirety of the laws of physics out of the window, then like what's the point? It's just like, how do you have any stakes then if you're just going to chuck everything out? You're like, oh, we can
Stakes
still
would
what we
be
want.
overdone, wouldn't they? The stakes would be a bit overdone.
Guess what? I'd stake.
I'm raising my rating on story.
Didn't realise stakes would do that.
Yeah.
I think I was just schooled, Alec.
Oh, I thought Pat just did a pun and you like raised it like 3 scores up for a story. I was like, hang on, you can't. That's crazy. Do you know what I mean? It's just sort of like if you're already kind of doing I'll like go like, okay, this is the premise of the story. We're going to try and like explode a mini star inside of the sun to kind of regenerate it a bit more. I'm like, okay, if that's what you want to do, that's fine, but the rest of it better be really strong. And it's just
no,
it wasn't. It just sort of did what the fuck it wanted, and it was like, oh, okay, well.
Yeah, I don't see a problem with that. Like, I don't know why you go in going, oh well, I've already given you one concession. That's all you're getting. You bet all the rest of the science better be real fucking good. Like, no, like if I know that I'm going in immediately going, okay, well this is clearly not like our universe, like quote unquote. I'm already like, okay, well, you know, as long as the story itself and the characters hold up, then I can't imagine I'm having a problem with it. And I felt like that was all fine. Like I won't say I disliked it, because I didn't, but I still think the whole God thing was weird. But like that bit felt a bit disjointed, like they didn't really know what they wanted the film to be. But at the same time, it wasn't enough to break it for me. Like I was still enjoying it. So
yeah.
Ooh, I did a formula. Janky, but
Oh shit.
One thing that I really didn't like about it was the whole thing of going to the shipwreck to pick up another bomb. Like I think
oh yeah.
I think kind of to engineer a situation to the shipwreck, like there was a lot of better options, and 2 bombs are better than 1, I thought.
I mean, I saw it more as, don't think of it as a bomb. Like, think of it the way that he thought made the decision. It was like, it was they've got 1 chance and they don't know if it's going to work. But if they have another, then there's more possibility of it working.
But I was kind of going like, man, there's a bomb the size of Manhattan on a shipwreck on Mercury, and like I was kind of going like, I don't see how sort of going to a shipwreck to retrieve a bomb that's going to like emulate the Big Bang is going to be a safer option than trying to carry out the mission you've got.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
wasn't about safety. It was about the mission itself. Like, it was a risk that they were going to take, but they decided that it was a risk worth taking because it increased the chance of the mission itself succeeding.
But that's what I was saying there. Like, I don't like, given that it's a shipwreck and there's a bomb the size of Manhattan attached to a shipwreck, I was kind of like, how is this increasing their chances of succeeding? Like this, like surely this is just like a super dangerous thing to do when you've already got what you need.
Surely something must have gone wrong on the ship with the big bomb on it to make it stop. So maybe you kind of don't want to, directly approach it.
That's just like watching a horror film and like the person going into the dark room.
Don't do it.
Like you keep saying to the screen, "Don't do it." They'll do it anyway.
The characters were very dumb in some respects, even though they're supposed to be really smart. It's just like, why would you think that would be a logical thing to do?
I mean, you do have smart, dumb people, but or dumb, smart people. But the reason why I had a problem with it, or such a problem with it, wasn't the fact that they were going to pick up the bomb or try and get the bomb on the way, since they wouldn't be able to get it on the way back, it'd be too late, was the fact that the first ship, it was kind of hinted that the first ship basically got taken out by, like, you could say small meteorite fragments or space junk or whatever it was that was close enough to the sun that it interfered with their sensors, so they didn't actually know it was coming. Kind of like the scene in Gravity in real life, in different scenes where you have meteorites and space junk that flying all the time, that make punctures and do all kind of stuff, and they do huge damage because they're flying at like 300 to 800 to 1,000 miles per hour, and that's what was hinted in the video, the last video he recorded, that took them out. So why would you even chance going off ever so slightly off course when I assume a ton of people got involved to even plot this course and the timing of everything, like many different space people all on Earth? Yet you're going to risk this going bad it just seemed too big of a risk to me, just because they didn't even know if they was going to make it. So it seemed like, I don't know. I was just like, oh, no.
I mean, like, they were following the beacon at first, weren't they? So the second bomb wasn't sort of prevalent in most of their thinking until I can't remember the guy's name. Sort of said, well, they've got another bomb. Let's just go and see if we can take it.
Yeah.
So that'd be even more insane, because they'd have to decouple the bomb from the ship.
Yeah.
And then couple the bomb to their bomb.
No,
it would be insanely.
I don't think that was what they were sort of aiming at. They thought that if the ship could be piloted, then they could both just go and then inject them at the same time. And the fact that there was a beacon sort of made them think that there might be someone still alive. Well, there was, but he was a bit of a crazy man.
Yeah, I wouldn't even bothered. I'd have seen that video and went, nope.
Yeah, it was like the chance that, because the thing is, it was just like, all right, if sorry, let me say this again.
Yeah.
The chance that that thing could even fly, it was just like, yeah, maybe they didn't have enough fuel to return back to escape the sun's gravity. Fair enough. And they didn't, but they also didn't want to fly closer to kind of kill themselves to go into the sun to save Earth. Okay, but you think maybe just everyone is dead, but they didn't want to fly into the sun still. There's just so much about it that was just like, we don't know enough information. This seems really weird, but we're gonna go anyway. Like,
we don't have enough information, but we can be sure of one thing. It's probably Cillian Murphy's fault somehow.
Yeah.
I feel for that guy. It wasn't his fault. It's
No,
the
he's
captain's
like
fault.
a full rung of responsibility of that. Just like the decision that got made. But Chris Evans is convinced that it's him. And he's like, you did this. And I'm like, did he?
Yeah, of course it is. I was just like, I was pissed off at the captain. I was like, your physicist said that this is dumb. It's a 50-50 chance.
Wait, are you talking about the character or Brian Cox?
The character. Sorry.
Brian Cox, you dumb
Might
man.
as well be Brian Cox.
The character said, like, look, this is 50-50 chance. Why are you asking this? Like, I don't think it's worth a. And he's like forcing him to make a choice that he doesn't want to make. He doesn't think.
It's not even his choice. Like,
but the captain's forcing the choice upon him. It's like he's taking the responsibility of it, but he's forcing him to make the choice. And he's just like, I'm telling you, like this, I'm basically saying no, but you're forcing me to make it. I was like, fine.
All he says is, it's like a coin toss. You're asking me to say if it's going to be heads or tails, but Sel's got a point. That's all he says. And then Chris Evans is like, this is all your fucking fault. And it's like, yes, it's all Cillian Murphy's fault. As the guy who, one, didn't suggest it, that was Searle. One, the guy who got told it was a 50-50 chance and then went, fuck it, that was Kaneda. And then you got Trey, and it's Cillian's fault for just assuming he was competent.
But yeah.
He wouldn't fuck up all the maths. And it's like, how is it his fault? Like,
it's
like the scene wants you to go, wow, yeah, it was kind of his fault, wasn't it? And it's like no one went, no.
I think what made it worse was that they weren't in the room, so they assumed he told him yes, because the captain never said. He didn't actually say yes. The captain just said what's going to happen, and then of course people make mistakes. The thing is, that guy, and I feel for that guy. He was trying to do a job that if it was on Earth, it would have been like at least 100 different people plus making those decisions and calculations. And he was doing that by himself in the space of what time? Of course he's going to make a mistake.
What was he calculating though, other than the trajectory? Because I got to say, if I'm kind of on a ship that's going toward the sun, and the ship is 90% of the thing that's stopping us from getting destroyed by the sun, that'd probably be on my mind a bit, because I'd be going, so can we work out the trajectory where we pick up the Icarus 1 and then go to the sun? And I'm like, the sun? Why aren't we? Sun's really hot. What's keeping us from being destroyed by the? Oh yeah, the shields. Like, it's not even like a big leap to go, the sun's really hot, actually. That might be a problem.
The thing is there's so much to it, and if I put it on a smaller level, so I don't know if anyone knows about the solar car race that happens in Australia, like every year or every few years.
I've heard of it before.
Yeah. Well, basically, just to do all the calculations and to make sure that this car will stay on the road, not be swept by different wind forces and all sorts of things, and the fuel, the kind of weather, everything that gets affected, they need like 4 people constantly looking at different things just to make sure that this car will actually make it to where they want in the way that they want. And when it comes to a ship of that size, that close to the sun, you're constantly being blasted by different kind of solar blast. You've got different kind of space junk like meteorites and all sorts of things. You've got the gravity of like so many forces that come into it. yes, the shields and the angle of it would seem like, oh, that would seem obvious. But for someone who's got like hundreds of calculations that he needs to do, it's this
quite a priority.
Yeah, even when it comes to the oxygen level, how he's going to burn this, how he's going to do this, it's like they've left so much to this one guy, which is unfair. Which is normally you have hundreds of people doing this, and it's the same for even little things like the Mars rover and different things. You know how it is. You have a whole room of people who are all calculating all these different things just to make sure it gets there and lands properly. And it's Mars, it's not even the sun. So it's
my argument for this is it's not only unfair, but it's actually kind of unrealistic for me that like this guy is just like your designated space maths wizard, and there's no like other guy who can do maths. Like they're made up of scientists and engineers. There's a lot of maths involved with like just any of those. Like one of them's an engineer, one of them's a pilot. Like some of them must be able to do like, I'm not saying they should be able to do like like he can obviously do like some kind of specialist maths that none of them know anything about, but the idea that there's no one to check that his maths is right, no one to even have a talk with him like, are you sure like this is, you haven't forgotten anything, like the 90% of our ship thing, have you ever you've considered that? And he's like, oh yeah, maybe the pilot could possibly say something like, you know, the thing with the ship that's kicked, yeah, maybe that might jog your memory about something. The idea he's doing this all by himself is ridiculous. Like no one questions him. Even the people like Chris Evans who don't even think it's a good idea. He's not even trying to like poke holes in it or anything. They all just go, maths wizard says it's fine, so I guess it's fine, and that's it.
I don't think he gave them a chance to challenge him though. Like they'd all gone off doing their own thing,
he's
and
not
he's
the
like,
captain, though,
bip, 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 let's turn.
He's not the captain though. He can't just go, sorry, captain, I'm maths wizard. You can't check my maths. Fuck you. The captain can go, before we do this, actually, let's double check the maths. Just so we're safe. It's not like we're doing anything crucial. You know, we're just
the thing is, right, you've got a spaceship that's pretty advanced, right? You're going like millions of miles away from the Earth. You would have thought the computer would be able to compute some of this maths as well, right?
True.
And why don't get it is the computer is as fucking dumb as the characters. One, a rogue person gets on and it doesn't tell them. And then and then it tells them after the person's on the ship, oh yeah, there's another life form.
What I would say is like,
that's so stupid.
I mean, the criticism is fair, but it'd be a pretty boring film if that sequence didn't actually happen.
Why though?
It just goes direct into the sun, inject it, film over. No, nothing.
It would.
No, come on. There's so many other things in the middle of that. Like,
yeah, exactly.
What about if while they're checking out the Icarus One, Cassie's like, guys, Icarus just picked up that someone that isn't any of you has just come aboard the ship. That'd be exciting.
Oh,
like, I don't know.
Wait a minute. We've got cameras and we can see that this person's just boarded our ship.
There was something else about Icarus where I was like, oh, it doesn't pick up anything, but it was like, no, actually rewatching it, when the rays are all glancing off the shield, the communications room gets taken out and Icarus goes, the comms are down, and I'm like, oh, it does actually do it. Okay, fair enough. What happens with the O2 room? Whole O2 room gets completely blasted. Nothing. No, it's only because Corazon's looking at the screen and going, oh fuck. Icarus doesn't say fucking nothing. It's just a little square going, this is a problem, by the way. We've got no O2.
Oh yeah, random thing. Camilla was saying, oh, it's it's Among Us. Who's the imposter? Who's sus? In the whole movie, it was really funny.
What was I going to say?
I thought it was ridiculous.
But I will, like, before, because I know John's going soon, I will agree.
He's gone.
Oh crap.
He's gone.
But I do agree that it's one of the things. It's how far do you pick at it, and I do think that, like, with all the kind of like problems it has, I like I said, I still enjoy it, and I pick at it a little bit, but there's a point where I don't pick at it further because then
you wouldn't like the film.
I don't do that to other films either, to be honest.
I find it ridiculous that they fly a big fucking metal box into the sun that doesn't melt, and it's just whatever. I don't know. They didn't even explain what the material was, but he flies into the fucking sun in it, and it's just like,
I think
Sorry.
it's a bit ridiculous.
So
But
entertaining.
the thing for me is like it's not so much that like I get the argument of like not picking too much at the science, but I think picking at the logic behind what's been built is like it's where it falls down for me because it's like when they go to that other shipwreck and they're like, yeah, 2 bombs are better than 1. I'm like, why have you gone on a mission to the sun with a massive bomb without knowing you've got exactly what you need? And then also when Benedict Wong like fucks everything up, I'm like, why are you going on a mission to the sun without having a failsafe? And like what, and it's like, why have you gone on a mission to the sun without an AI that will tell you when there's no oxygen? Like it's...
Or when there's some crazy guy with no skin just wandering around your ship. I'd like to
That's
put a system in place just in case there is a random fucking guy just wandering around my ship in the middle of nowhere where he's not meant to be. I don't know.
Yeah, that's that.
It suffers from dumb characters and dumb computer, basically.
I think that's the thing. When everything's dumb, what have you got? Like, what's the point? You got a computer that goes, oh hey, by the way, if we do any higher than 3.1%, we're going to burn your retinas out. Also, crazy guy with no skin wandering around with a knife. Don't worry about him. I'll tell you about that when he's relevant. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But just for now.
I've got to admit though, that bit at the start, it made me raise an eyebrow because like when he's like, oh, lower the filters to 4% or whatever, and they're like, no, we can only go to 3.1%, otherwise you'll burn your retinas. And he's like, all right, do that. And then he immediately put sunglasses on. I was like, oh, we're in trouble.
Also, Camilla was pointing out, he must want skin cancer because they flash back to it, I think, once or twice. But he goes back into the room afterwards and puts on those kind of goggles that's reminiscent of Riddick or something.
Ones, yeah.
Or does it a few times, yeah. And then he raises the intensity higher than 3.1.
So he would have been scorched.
That's why there's a scene a little afterwards where he has kind of like really burn marks. His skin has pussed up in different places because he keeps doing it. It's just like, this guy's got problems.
I found his whole thing fucking bizarre because like he's going on like, oh hey, yeah, being in light, it's really cool. It's better than being in dark. Like it's really neat. By the way, I'd recommend it. And then, but then like when Kaneda is like looking at the sun, he's on the thing going, what can you see? And I'm like, he's looking at the sun, not much.
It's just the sun. Like I said, it's like
I think it's because he wants him to just. What'd you say, Ben? Sorry.
I just said what I said before. It's like 90% of the film is just them just staring at the sun.
Yeah.
But you gotta also think like they're 7 years into a mission. You just don't know how long they've been without the sun or without the sun at sort of full capacity on Earth. So as soon as they see the sun, like the captain when he's got completely wiped out by the scorch, like he's just sort of in love with what he sees.
Yeah, I must admit that's one of the concepts in the film that I thought was quite cool, the whole like addiction to the sun thing, because I was thinking like if you're on a spaceship for however many years and like the only people that you've got around you are like Chris Evans, Cillian Murphy, and I was thinking you probably would want to get away from them, and in that environment you probably would form an addiction to the sun. Like,
Chris Evans keeps accusing me of shit like just randomly. Like sun doesn't do that. Maybe I will.
I also like the fact that Chris Evans very validly was just like, look, I feel that I'm saner than you, and you're the psychiatrist. Like he might have been the psychiatrist, but yeah, he
he was kind of going or gone. He was not help. He was losing, like, I would say, the sense of reality. Yeah, as a psychiatrist, and you don't want that on the ship. You've been there for that. It's like, yeah, this is a great idea, and blah blah blah, dude. Like, no. I don't want skin cancer so that when we get back to Earth, I end up having lots of problems because you kept telling me to bathe in light. You're basically telling me to take an extreme sunbed. This is just already known.
Just going back to what you said at the start there, I even as an audience member, I spent a lot of the film going, I feel like I'm saner than you, and there's no way I would trust myself to fly a bomb to the sun.
This is part of what I'm trying to get at. It's like, okay, if this is your premise, it's like, I don't, this is the story you want to start from, and it's like, okay, right. If we need to get that in place and you want to tell this story, like, whatever. But the rest of it needs to be really, really strong. I need to like these characters. I need to understand the logic behind what they're doing. But there's not even like a thing on the mainframe that stops you from just taking a bit of it out. It just goes, you're not designated to do that. Oh,
yeah, that was like, bad.
It's nothing. There's not a fucking thing.
Yeah, considering
shit. Who are these people? What's the fucking point?
Exactly. And considering, like you were saying, Alec, when the autopilot at different times, it's just like, nah, basically, F you, I'm going to do this, or what you're saying doesn't make sense. You're in jeopardy, or blah blah blah. There's times when it like takes over unless the captain tells it otherwise. It doesn't stop people from taking stuff off the mainframe, which is key to the whole ship's survival.
Yeah, like it becomes sentient when the story needs it to be sentient, and it's just I don't know. I'm just like, if you're just gonna like just fuck about and not make anything like consistent about it, like I don't understand what the fucking point is.
Yeah,
like these guys don't. It's like when he gets shut into the when he gets shut in the airlock, and they lock him in, and he's like going, Chris Evans, I can't get out of the airlock. He's locked it, and he's going like, you're gonna have to do something because I'm dead. And he's like, no, you can't be dead. I can't get out of here. And he's like, well, figure it out. And then he goes, Chris Evans is dead. And then like, smash cut. He's got a blowtorch, he's got stuff, he's pulling off the door, and I'm like, so you knew how to do this? You just waited until Chris Evans was dead. You just
you just needed like a short scene in between all that where he kind of discovers the flamethrower and whatever, and he goes, oh, I did have options, never mind.
Like, oh fuck.
He actually knows how to do it, and I'm like, what about if he's trying to get out and then he's just a little bit too late to save Chris Evans? Is that not a little? I don't know.
I don't know. To be honest, with the kind of he could have done that like earlier on. With some people, so I was kind of forgiven with it because with some people, when they start to panic, especially if their main job is just to literally look at graphs, look at this, and calculate stuff. It's not they're not the type of people you would normally really get to go on it outside of a spaceship to wear that suit and do XYZ, even though they're trained in it. It might not be their first thought to do. And then if they're panicking and everything, they might just be like, I don't know what to do. They might not think of the obvious.
But there's no like cut in between to see him like look at it or find it or like anything like that. It is literally just Chris Evans is dead, and he goes, "Oh right, well, blowtorch." That's the next shot. I'm like, I can understand the point. Like, I can understand your point there that people will just kind of panic and not be able to like use their brain, but it is literally like the next shot after.
Well, he's not panicking, is he?
Yeah, but I'm just, you can just have him go.
Oh yeah, Camilla made a valid point.
Plus he's bleeding as well, so he's like got a massive cut, and he's all like, "I'm dying," and then
Humphrey, you're
like strapped
Humphrey, you're
up.
on my side.
Like, no, but
Oh,
like
yeah.
with the computer maintenance, right? The whole thing it doesn't do fuck all, and then the period when it doesn't do what you want it to, it fucking goes, oh, I'm carrying on with the mission. It's like they didn't program this. They didn't fucking say anything about it being on a mission as such, like the mission that they was going to be setting
Ic-
for themselves.
Icarus, do we have oxygen? Sorry, I'm programmed to raise dramatic tension.
Exactly. And they can't stop it. They have to manually
Camilla made
Like a
override.
fucking mad girlfriend. She's just kind of like, he's like, I've got enough oxygen for 4 years. And she's like, well, I don't know if you're going to invite friends over. And he's like, what do you mean friends over? And she's like, well, there's not 4 of you, is there? And he's like, yes, there are, me, her, and him.
Oh
He's
my
like,
god.
oh, well, you know, what about that guy? And he's like, who the fuck is that guy? And he's just like, fuck if I know.
Well, you know, like the woman that survives till the end, the whole fucking film, she's miserable. She doesn't do anything for anything on the ship. Like she just is there to be miserable and say, oh, we shouldn't have done that. This is really shit, isn't it? And it's like, oh fuck, imagine
Yeah.
being
She's Alex.
on
I can't
imagine
remember
being on
what her job
spaceship for
was.
years with a woman like that. It's just insane. It'd just be like, oh my god.
She's there for Skin Dude to just fucking like kidnap her and then use her as a lure when he takes her on the bomb. Takes her on the bomb to distract Cillian Murphy, even though he wasn't bothered about Cillian Murphy. Also, if you pull his arm enough, then all of his skin will come up. I don't.
That
not-
whole thing was, but Camilla
not
made a
very
valid
good.
point that with anyone who was on that ship, they would have been, I say, tested enough, been through enough things that they wouldn't have had someone who would panic like that and not be able to make proper decisions on that ship.
It's like we've got to get the best team to do the most important job in the world. Who are we going to get? Oh yeah, the B team.
I think this is my problem with it.
Oh, that's true. It is the B team, isn't it?
But it's the thing
Their
with
A
like,
team died.
I don't think he meant the actual B team though, because like it's like they rounded him up at the bus stop.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like,
it's like the second mathematician you've sent into space, and he's the guy who kind of forgets that 90% of his ship exists, and then he's just like, no, sorry, I was trying to work out this.
That's the thing. Like, it's kind of like I get that, you know, maybe the ones who were best suited to it were on a shipwreck, but at the same time, was there really only 7 people who were good at this?
That's the thing.
Like the fact of the psychiatrist or the doctor bloke is completely insane. You can see that he's completely insane because he's like, oh, I'm just going to stare at the sun and burn my fucking eyes out. It's like, why are you telling people advice on how to feel things or change your attitude when you're completely nuts? It's like,
do you know what? I've got to say, like when you saw the scores, Emmanuel, you apologised for picking this, but this has been a really good call. So this has been a great pick.
Yeah, it's
because the premise of the film is
You've even got me talking.
just the way it's done is just really stupid. It's like,
and you've playing the evil John. Sorry, John, when you rewatch this.
I don't even will watch this.
Struggle to get him to watch the films, let alone this.
Yeah.
Now we'll watch it and then you'll hear my insult.
Anyway, sorry, Karen.
Also, I felt a bit like, I wouldn't say queasy, but you know, like at the end where it was all like kind of moving really fast and like you don't actually see the skin bloke that long. I'm like,
yeah,
this is really fucking irritating. Like, I know you're trying to be like artsy and a bit like, oh, this is a really chaotic situation, so I'm gonna have like thing flashing and people flashing up like subliminal messages, but no.
I thought his whole thing where like you can't get a clear look at him because he's just like there's just like all these little bits. I was like, I am fucking struggling to look at this. Like, I don't know what effect you're going for, but it's not working.
He's the one that's not disgusting. It's just the whole screen is just so awful. He's just like, I can't take this. Like,
sorry, Pat. I can see you readying. See you poised. I can see
Oh,
you about
no.
to
I
unload a
just zoned
can
out
of
for a sec.
whoop
Oh,
ass.
don't.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I had to take a couple of points off of production for that because I don't know, I didn't get what the purpose of like the freeze frames and stuff was.
No, I didn't either, and I also didn't get the little cuts where I get it like kind of on reflection when they're kind of taking a step, and it's like, oh, you just stepped in this guy. Oh, you just stepped in this guy. But I was just kind of like, you don't know that. Like, nobody. Actually, on reflection, that's probably a better shot than I gave it credit for.
Or even the fact they're foreshadowed. The fact that skin's 30. Was it dust is 30% of the skin? Dust? Yeah. And it's like, oh look, there's dead people. Oh, they're cooked. Oh, so basically the whole ship is just full of their dead skin.
I think Dan
But
was
there's no
watching.
signs of life that there's a guy without any skin wandering around in this dust cloud where he's definitely getting some kind of infection somewhere. He might leave a footprint. I don't know.
Yeah, you would have thought.
Yeah,
you'd
how
have left
long
a
was he
footprint.
like that? That's the
7
point.
years. Oh yeah, I guess. Yeah, he wouldn't be like.
Mm,
I guess he wouldn't just tear off all his skin and go, after 7 years.
no, because he would have had to be cooked by the sun, wouldn't he? So it would have been probably quite early on in the
But-
when they opened the
Just enough.
just enough. Do you think he
But-
went? This is a bad idea as he's walking out.
Maybe.
But
But
partially
Cillian Murphy shows that you can just override that whole thing. Because when he sees Skin Dude and he starts attacking him, he just goes, Icarus, fucking blast him. And he just does full burn. And she doesn't go, actually, if I absolutely fucking blast him, he's going to get killed.
Yeah.
She doesn't have a warning in place for that. He just goes, she just becomes a Pokemon. Fucking disintegrate.
choose you.
They just got the laziest
Theory, I
version ever
choose
to be the
you.
computer.
Doesn't kill him.
Yeah.
He just runs. He's that angry that the entire force of the sun doesn't
Sun.
burn him at all or damage him in any way. He just gets a bit madder and runs
That's,
after him a bit
that's
quicker.
another reason why I like stopped trying to pick at it, because there were just so many things of just like this guy has, is it like 5th degree burns all over his body? Like
He looks like a diagram.
like
Freddy Krueger.
He
like
looks
the
like a
fact-
biology diagram. He should not be able to function.
yeah, the fact that
Oh.
he's able to walk and his skin isn't falling off, because he would be constantly bleeding.
Yeah, and he would
I'm
cry
like,
out. So it'll flake and go nasty and get infected.
yeah, even if exactly infected, even if his pain receptors were all kind of taken away, which doesn't happen with burn victims, they still feel pain. But like,
But the thing is, he's insane. That's what the logic is. It's just
The insane don't feel pain. We all remember that song from secondary school, don't we?
Insane.
brain.
You can burn them, you can fry them, you can stick them in a stew. The insane don't feel.
But
We went to different schools. It's okay.
Insane in the membrane.
oh man.
Sorry.
But yeah,
Also, what I don't really understand is the fact that when he says, "Oh, it might not actually work," it's like, why would you fly people all that way and it cost billions of dollars or billions of pounds just for the fact of it might not work actually?
Yeah, well, it's like I was saying earlier. Like there are
Yeah.
so many points where I was just like, this isn't. There's no kind of internal logic because, yeah, like I was saying before about the whole like 2 bombs are better than 1 thing. It's like, well, if there's 7 of you going directly to the sun to blow it up again, surely you want some reassurance that you've got exactly what you need and you're not going to have to stop at a shipwreck on the way to get it.
And it's going to do what you need, even though
I-
they
I-
didn't know the shipwreck was going to be there.
yeah,
When they brought up the shipwreck, I was absolutely convinced that the story was going to be about. It was going to be like a conversation about the needs of the many versus the needs of the few, and it's like we could go and save whoever's out there still, but that might jeopardize the fact that we're like kind of responsible for the entire planet.
yeah,
Yeah.
And it's a big kind of moral like kind of weighing up of like I don't know. I just assumed with the characters we had to play with, it was going to be like it's going to be. I've never seen it, right? But I think it's is 12 Angry Men, is that the one with the jury?
Yeah.
I was kind of expecting that, where they're kind of all having a big fucking argument about whether to even go to this shipwreck or not.
Yeah.
That could have been
Yeah.
quite an interesting idea.
Well, I think
could
Yeah.
I think it would have been a much better idea because I mean, because like I said, like as soon as they said, "Oh, 2 bombs are better than 1," I was like, "No, this is silly." Whereas if the conversation was, "It looks like somebody's alive on that shipwreck," and then you've got that moral thing of like, "Do we go there or not?" Like that's a perfect motivation as well for Chris Evans to get the hump with Cillian Murphy.
Yeah.
That
And
would make so much more sense. And
That
then
would have
it-
been really.
I think one of the points you guys had just made, or just before Alec was talking, was that this was one of the problems. Oh, not in a bad way. This is one of the problems of it not being grounded in any kind of like not sense, but story. Camilla sense makes no sense. Not having it being grounded in any kind of world building at all. Like you don't have to make much effort, but if you put certain things in place or build certain things in the story from the beginning, that can help go, okay, this thing makes a little more sense later on. But because they didn't do that at all, it's kind of just like,
Yeah,
what?
like even in terms of just sort of like I don't know, you kind of throwing all these mechanics out there that just clearly don't make sense, because we've got the onboard computer tells you about some things but doesn't tell you other things. Doesn't have a system for someone just removing the mainframe out of it. It just goes like, you're not supposed to be and it's like
removing my brain.
if you wanted to have like this kind of dilemma thing where you have to choose between lives and you're out in space and you got to do the sun stuff and everything, but it's sort of like, what about this decision where you've kind of got to choose between a small group of people and a big group of people, and the choices that come out of that
Just a big group of
decision
people.
being made? And it's like you don't even have to worry about the science or mechanics or anything like that, because you can go like, oh yeah, the science is a bit fucking wonky, but at least at the core of it there was like a big morality like question surrounding it, and you had characters who like had a point and stuff, and you don't need to get into all that. But then it just became one can't count.
Yeah, I think that's the thing because that
it's really interesting, and then just one can't count, and that fucks the whole ship up. And I was like, oh right, that's okay. I guess that's the story then. Fine.
Yeah. And that's the thing, because I think I said to you the other day, like I really like the bit at the end where Cillian Murphy says, "Oh, it's something along the lines of if it's a particularly nice day, then you know we've succeeded." Like I really liked how that was written, but at that point I was already like, I don't believe this has happened. Like this is too silly to be true. Like this is
Yeah, but what they should have done is they should have skipped the bit with the saving the people. They should have flown to the sun, chucked the thing in, and when the sun got hotter, they would have blown up because the shields wouldn't have been able to cope with the sun being a bit hotter. That would have been hilarious because they're like, yes, we did it. Oh, wait a minute, why is it black? Oh, dead.
But that's another thing that would have been a better reason to go to the shipwreck, because if there was like that thing of, oh shit, what are we going to do on our way back because it looks like the sun might catch us kind of thing, then you have got some kind like, then it's like a survival mission to go and get another bomb so that you can keep more distance. Like there's so many other ways that you could have done that diversion to the shipwreck, but they just went, no, we might as well have 2, why not?
That's something else. When Searle just suggests that and goes, we don't even know if that's going to be enough to make it work, no one comes in with the counter of, what about if it works too much? What about if one bomb's too much, and then we've just got another bomb and the sun doubled? What happens then? And it's like, glad we've got this second bomb and a guy with no skin. Like, yeah, nice one. Also, I really don't know why any of them thought they were going back. As soon as I signed up for, you're going to go and fly with a bomb for however long and push it into the sun, I'll be like, I'm probably not coming back. Just statistically, there's enough here that's going to explode and kill me. I'm probably not coming back. I know.
I know that is the thing, isn't it? Like it's mental that conversation was that 2 bombs are better than 1, and nobody went, yeah, but 2 big bangs are pretty fucking big.
Let's F it up. Let's make a really big bang. Yeah. Destroy everything.
Oh, marvelous! And then I'm just like, oh, did Wong design the bomb? Because you might want to fucking double check that one.
That would have been brilliant as well if they got all that way and then Wong was like, I've got a confession to make. I've only made half the bomb that I meant to.
Imagine. Got a confession. Only half the bomb.
I didn't want to say until we'd found the other one.
We did it. I'm really sorry, guys. I have done it again.
Someone left it unplugged, right? So why is it not working? Oh shit, we didn't plug the power in. That kind of dumb shit that people would probably do.
Oh, if the film had done that, I'd have actually I'd have liked it like way more.
He's just standing at the end of the thing. Instead of it being the sun kind of being able to touch, he just goes, oh, piss.
I can actually see that scene unfolding now, because Trey would go, guys, I've got a confession. And then Chris Evans would go, fuck's sake, Cillian.
Yeah.
Why are you such a dick? And he just punches him in the face.
His name is Kappa.
I don't like
I
you.
don't give a
You're a dick.
You could have
Let me
just
put
had, like...
something out there, just random. Oh, sorry, you was gonna say something, Rob.
No, it's all right, man. Go on.
Imagine, because I was trying to, at one point, me and Camilla were trying to imagine, in what world could this story ever make sense?
It doesn't exist.
Now, just like ignoring the kind of, I guess, more obvious one where maybe it's the alternate version of Earth. I don't know, whatever. This Earth existed, formed much later. You've got that, but imagine it's in this futuristic world like Star Trek, and because one bomb failing doesn't mean anything to them, because they could just make another one, it becomes a space version of Scully.
What?
Do you know Scully? Or is it Scully? It's Scully, right?
What?
Has anyone seen the Scully film?
I've not seen it, no.
Is it the one with Tom Hanks?
Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's the Tom Hanks one where he his ship gets hijacked by pirates. And in that film, it's much more about caring whether he gets home safe or the people can get back and make it out of the situation alive.
I thought you just invented a movie about Fox Mulder's sidekick.
Oh no. But I was just imagine it. It would be a completely different film, of course. I was just imagining that same thing happening, but the people on Earth are just like, how'd that happen? Oh, whatever. We could just make another one and not even care. And the people are just like, no, please save us. We want to go home. It's like, man, like you're too close. Like that's a lot of effort.
That would have been
like, you're by yourself.
That would have been quite an X-Files episode. Just like the truth is on a shipwreck and two truths are better than one.
That's a Kegasaurus line.
Oh man. Anyway, carry on.
I just looked, right, and the sun is 93 million miles away from us. So in that 93 million miles, how would they not go insane from just being together? Like, I know, did it say they took 7 years to get there or something?
Yeah, saying that.
How fast that shit fucking moves.
Yeah, saying that though.
Suddenly do something without fucking the whole ship just going. Yeah.
Yeah, saying that. A example of something like that right now is actually the Mars program. Like you're the first group of scientists and whatnot that are gonna go up there have literally been trained. This was before COVID, but they were trained in isolation for, was it a good 1 or 2 years? Literally living in a very small space where they can only go out for so long. And they're trying to make sure they select only the kind of people that could actually be resilient enough to withstand that.
And then
There's a podcast out there.
I hope they know how to do math.
I was gonna say, do they actually know how to do their job as well? Because
Oh, fucking hell.
sounds like whoever put the people to the fund didn't.
I'm just
But
saying,
yeah.
I can't do maths, so I better not go out there.
Oh yeah, I'm totally shit.
Yeah, I
would bet-
wouldn't either. I'm good on Earth. Thanks.
I do the triple
not
check
even good
and
on
I
Earth.
can get on.
I'm not qualified for the planet I was born on. Don't send me anywhere else.
Yeah, Camilla keeps saying she wants to go to Mars. I mean, I'm not quite sure. Or I want to go to a hotel on Jupiter, but
You can have
it's
to wait.
always a storm there. I'm not really I'm not really into the kind of rain made from diamonds, you know.
Emmanuel, are you being cucked by a planet? I want to get married. However, you have to be more compelling than Mars.
Is also an option.
Jupiter is not an option. It rains diamonds, and the winds are like 300 miles per hour constantly.
Sounds like a dream.
Like diamonds would be worth fuck all.
Yeah, because you'd be dead. You'd be pissed. You have lots of holes in you. Like, oh, it looks so pretty.
Wonders of diamonds.
I really enjoyed that. Just like, let's go to Jupiter. It rains diamonds and the winds are really strong. And Humphrey's like, the economy's fucked though.
Oh, Pat, you look really sad, man.
You say about having that kind of logic, but I was watching the news the other day, like when I got up in the morning, and there was like the two presenters, and the bloke had a picture of a shark, but it was like a fish tank in China, and there's all these mermaids and mermen, and they had this one hammerhead shark, and he said, "I wonder what the shark's thinking," and the fucking woman presenting with him went, "Sharks don't think." They don't think. I'm like, fuck you. I fucking hate the woman anyway, but it's like, that is not the point. That's imagination, right? You think, oh, what would that shark be thinking if he saw a load of fucking people dressed up as fish? But, yeah.
Oh yeah. Have I got news for you? Was it we watched today? Dolphins can hold grudges.
Dolphins also
Quite
rate
interesting.
Dolphins are different to basketballs then.
What?
Pat logic.
On no, they are different. More ways than one actually. Pat, we were asking Rob was asking. I don't want to take full credit. Rob was asking if you're okay because you look a bit sad.
Well, no, I'm fine.
I feel a bit bad because last week you were like, oh, everyone's going to really like Sunshine, and then we've all just gone, this film has many flaws.
I'm just happy that I got to watch it again. It was on my pick list, but Emmanuel kindly picked it for me instead.
Thanks.
He picks it.
Yeah, I thought it deserved to be picked. I thought, you know what? Yeah, y'all should get to see this if you haven't. I think also as well I don't think you probably notice it too much now, but at the time, the reason a lot of the effects were so good and so seamless was because they didn't use complete CGI. It was a thing. They used half CGI and half realistic effects, like making real models and having like it's kind of that whole kind of idea of mixing real kind of explosions or many things on camera and then mixing that with CG to create something that actually looks really good, especially at the time. If you imagine what the CG was like,
So
it was okay, but huh?
As I say, what you're telling me, they made a real spaceship with a giant dome on it.
I think they made parts of it.
Yeah, I must admit, like I thought that, like on sort of like a positive note for it, I did think the set design was really good.
Yeah, it looked really good.
I also, I thought everything like kind of planetary looked good. I think that's what made Skin Dude's thing so jarring, because it was like this all looks fucking brilliant. And then it was like, oh yeah, by the way,
Flash, flash, flash.
did you film this in film school? Like, what are you doing? This is like David Ayer level. Sorry, Ben.
Actually, what's it called?
Release the Ayer cut.
Oh, what's the fucking film? With the dog. Oh,
Don with the dog.
Marley and Me.
no, Will Smith.
Beethoven.
The other one with the dog.
A zombie film. Where everyone's dead.
I Am Legend.
Yeah, it was a bit like that where they showed you they showed you the bad guys, but it was kind of like, oh, you got a camera, there's the bad guy. I'm not going to show you it properly because it makes it more intense. It's like, no, you're just making me feel sick.
Do you know what? Like, I don't remember a single thing about I Am Legend, but that just brought it all back for me.
Oh, really? I liked I Am Legend.
Yeah, I did as well. But I like Will Smith.
Part of my kind of story that I've never finished writing is actually kind of like that. It's after some real crap goes down. But anyway.
I like I Am Legend, but I like roast beef.
I said Will Smith, you dickhead.
I like roast beef as well. Yeah, fuck.
Oh
man. The best logic in the film was basically when it's on fire and they're like, oh, this is our only oxygen supply. What are we going to do? Yeah, burn it all. It's like, it's not got like a fucking like sprinkler system for like fires because they're in space and there could be really bad shit happen and they need sprinkler system. No, we're just going to blow air through it. And fucking
no, it's all right. Corazon's on the case. She's just going to run at it and go. She's like, get out of my way. I need to get to my bloody plant. I'm a Batman.
Yeah, that was
the thing and she goes,
they're in the greenhouse. Right?
The Chris Evans point was actually was good, was rational. It's the point before that. It's the fact that they was just like, oh, we're part of the ship will like burn and blah blah blah. And then was it Cassie or someone? Oh, someone was just like, oh, you just lose some antennas and stuff. Oh, but the way back, oh no, we worry about that. It's like that you people, I felt like they were too dumb or they were not qualified to actually make that decision. It's like, what is on that part of the ship? Just the oxygen garden. The oxygen garden, that freaking burns.
Or like the fact that the antenna gets hit and then they're like, they kind of say, oh, it gets hit, and then like, okay, whatever, but they're not watching it, and it gets hit again, and it doesn't say anything. And it's just, you would have fucking cameras, right? Or you'd have sensors that tell you, oh, wait a minute, there's been a fucking fire strike in that area. Oh, there's been. It's like, it's like really advanced technology, and it's more fucking primitive than what they went to the moon.
It's the passive aggressive girlfriend thing again. It's like the comms tower's gone down and no one really reacted, and she was like, "Oh well, I won't tell you about the fucking OT garden then." And Corey's looking at the fucking console. It's got a little flash bit.
She just had this shit like this face. I'm like, really? If I had to a spaceship with that, I'd just have to live in a different area. What do you do? Well, just miserable.
Hey, it's a lifestyle.
I just there's so many weird things in it that are just like, why? You would know this. This computer is so advanced that it must tell you that there's a problem, or there's someone just arrived on our ship that doesn't belong on the ship, because you just told me that there was someone there that doesn't match.
I do think as well, like, I mean, it's nothing compared to the other sort of hang-ups that I have with it. But I was also thinking, like, if you've built a bomb the size of Manhattan, it would have been really interesting to see how you'd done that.
Yeah, I can see why you wouldn't want to go into the mechanics of it, because then you'd go, it's this metal, and then someone's like, there's no way you could do it with this metal, and you're like, for fuck's sake. So I can see why you'd kind of, they don't really seem that big on research. So
Big enough to hire Brian Cox, but not big enough to listen to him.
Maybe they just invited him round for a cup of tea.
But in their words, they used all Earth's resources to make it. So that means that if it did work, the world's fucked anyway because it ain't got no natural resources to function anymore.
This is a bomb the size of Manhattan. What's it made of? Manhattan?
That would have been great. How do you know that? Oh, we just demolished Manhattan.
Rob, I thought you like New York. All you've been wanting to do is just fire it into the sun all evening.
This is why I gave it free for enjoyment, because I think they might have.
The thing is, the material they made or they used has got to be hot, be able to withstand the heat of the sun, right? So it's got to be something fucking very precious, and to have that amount of it, you'd probably have to bore a fucking massive hole in the world anyway. So
Yeah, it must have been made of like saffron or something. Sorry, that was a really shitty joke.
Boris? Yeah.
What's it made of? Garlic.
Yeah, I think it would have probably fucked the film if they explained that, because then everyone's like, what?
I think there's a lot of ways it could have been a better film.
I didn't necessarily want them to sort of explain the makeup of the bomb or anything. Like, it's just sort of when you have that visual of a bomb the size of Manhattan, I'm kind of going like, so where did you find the room to build this? Like, did you build it in orbit, or like, you know, it could have just been something interesting to explore a little bit.
It's not only a bomb the size of
Manhattan.
It's not only a bomb the size of Manhattan. It's a bomb the size of Manhattan where the laws of physics, like gravity, don't make sense.
Yeah.
And equal, like it's just like it's like the that painting where all the staircases are different. But also, sorry, actually, that whole scene is hilarious because like he sees Cassie and he's like, "Where is he?" And I'm like, "It's a flat surface, fucko. He's gonna be in your field of view somewhere." Like he just pops up from behind him. And I'm like, "Oh, where were you hiding?" Just the pants, just like nice, good one. And then he like
It's so
he like
true.
holds him off the edge, and then he's standing up, like horizontally, and he's standing up, and I was just like, all right.
I mean, that part I forgave because before, earlier on in the film, when Cillian whatnot, he explained they couldn't calculate it because the gravity is so effed up, like that close to the sun or that like that far in. There's no point trying to calculate what could happen because everything is basically happening. So I kind of forgave that point because I was just like, well, maybe.
I have a confession to make. The other day, I was like, oh, maybe it's not a 1, maybe it's a 2. Nah. I thought back to that.
That's so generous, Alex.
I thought back to that scene where he's dangling him off the bomb, and I was like, nah, that's a 1. That's a 1.
I just thought of something as well, right? So you know they said that they used all of the world's resources to make this bomb. So like
fiscal resources.
Yeah.
I don't know what that word.
Not fiscal. Fiscal's money.
Yeah, yeah, not fiscal. It's like fizzle or something.
Fissile.
They use a particular word for particular types of resources, but I don't know what resources those are.
It's
Anyway.
fissile.
Huh?
Fissile. I will find it. I will look it up. I will do something that the filmmakers of Sunshine never did. Fissile. It means that it is able to undergo nuclear fission. Fissile material.
Oh, so basically all the materials that they can use to make nuclear bombs and nuclear fusion possible. Okay, fair enough. There's quite a lot of things that could go in that.
Yeah, there's a lot of material there. And they probably
Uranium-235, uranium-233, and plutonium-239.
Interesting.
Imagine how radioactive that would have been. You'd have probably just got cancer from being next in the ship.
That's true. After 7 years, would they have been saying that?
Nah,
saying that
been
if you
horrible
shielded it
enough.
enough, just like the radioactive kind of furnaces on Earth and whatnot.
as
the
long
ra-
as the casing to the nuclear weapon is intact, then you're not exposed to any of the materials inside it.
yeah, they would have got more radiation from the sun, to be honest, than the stuff they were carrying.
Pat's a nuclear physicist now.
There's no
Thanks,
way to
Pat.
verify
I
this.
fucking wish.
He might be played by Benedict Wong, and we won't know. He's just saying things.
But saying that, even on Mars, you would get a whole bunch of
I trust you. I trust you.
radiation, which is another problem where people can't go out for too long until they invent suits that can block out the radiation enough.
I thought you was going to say, which is another problem with us getting married there, Camilla.
It's another problem.
Marvelous.
That's what he does. What he's not saying is his plan.
Where did that come from?
That's his
What did-
plan is to get married on Mars.
I thought. Did Emmanuel just ask where that came from?
Yeah,
You brought that up.
I didn't bring up marriage. I brought up Mars. It's just that Rob thought I thought I was going to
Mars,
say
marriage.
marriage.
Same
No,
thing.
earlier on you were talking about going there.
Oh,
About the
I get what you
diamonds,
mean
Simon, mate.
about getting married on Mars. Yeah, I get you. Thanks. I'm with him. I'm here.
You could have had Mars, but you got Manchester instead.
Oh,
Yeah,
God.
Manchester's pretty good.
Tried to
Yeah,
say.
I agree.
As long as it don't rain.
Rain diamonds.
It's not Mars.
It'll rain diamonds and make the
Okay,
economy
fine.
fucking
We'll
worthless.
get married on Mars then.
The diamonds are forever.
Yeah.
How many of you had?
And that was my friend.
Diamonds.
Ben's
What is
pissed.
this?
Diamonds.
What is this become?
Same as Alec, I think.
Oh, I've only had 2. So
Oh,
no,
I only had one.
yeah. Yeah. I'm tired. I'm so fucking.
no. Taking into account that Humphrey's tired. Production, I have to say, there was like something I wanted to kind of compare really because I watched a little film called Close Encounters the other day. It was a director's cut of Close Encounters, which I realised I'd watched 3 times now. But there's like I was
Someone
saying,
should pick it.
yeah, someone should. Maybe they shouldn't actually. But like, I was talking to my dad about it, and he was like, "Nah, it was the 70s," and I was like, "Yeah. This is my kind of thing because for the 70s, the effects are very, very good, and I was really, really, really immersed like in it up until I didn't like it, but I was really immersed in it up until the point where they send out all the little child aliens, and they come in really, really, really close to these aliens, and you just notice that their eyes are painted on.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, for fuck's sake. And I was like, they did such a good job of like just making me really immersed. And that tiny little shot made me go like, oh, fuck. This did a similar thing where it went, here's a big ship. And I was like, that looks pretty good. And it went, here's the sun. And I'm like, that looks pretty good. And they did, here's the interior of the ship. It looks really good. And I was like, it does look really, really good. And then they were like, here's a guy. He's got no skin. And anyway, we're going to do thing. And I was like, that's really bad. And it was noticing the eyes are painted on moment, and then just doubling it and doubling it and doubling it and doubling it. And I was like, fuck, this is horrendous. Like any immersion it created from me going like, hey, this is really just absolutely stomped on. Like I was just kind of like, stop doing this annoying fucking effect. It's irritating. It's making me just not want to look at you. Like, stop it.
Yeah, but I don't
Other than that, I think it was great.
I don't really understand why they kept doing the flashing of the pictures of the people. I don't really. That's like.
Oh, I think it's because they take a step and then it's like, bloop, you just stepped in that guy.
Oh,
I just stepped in that guy. And on reflection, I think that is actually a better shot than I did give it credit for. So I might
yeah, it
actually
could
mock
have
that
been.
up.
Yeah, I didn't really think of that.
But yeah,
Still with a team.
that's it though. That's all you're getting.
I think the only time I say like the blur. I didn't mind the blur. I kind of just grew used to it. But the only time I felt that the blur served, I said not purpose, but it kind of felt like it would have been there, was when he kind of smashed through. Is it smashed through? Or he was in the kind of the room, the white room where it kind of puts things, but the room was broken or kind of malfunctioning at that point.
Oh, it had a dead person in it.
Yeah, it had a dead person in it as well. And I was thinking, okay, maybe because he had smashed more of it, it started going crazy in terms of its glitching. That seemed like, okay, that could work. That could be like, oh yeah. Otherwise, outside of that scene, there should have been no blur. I can understand some camera shake, but blur?
I guess you're meant to think he's like absorbed the essence of the sun and that you don't want to look at him directly or it'll cause irreversible damage or something like that.
But it's not that kind of film.
I know. Well, we don't
If
know
it
what
was
kind
that
of-
kind of film, then I'd be like, okay, cool. Yeah, that makes sense. It's that kind of, they've already said that stuff is possible. No, this is just some guy who's gone crazy from suntanning himself too much. It's to the point where his skin is just burnt and he thinks everyone should die. I'm just like,
Well, me and Ed were talking about it, actually. This would have been a kind of a nice sort of thing you could have had with like the psychiatrist thing. Because you could have had like the close, like you could have had it like just be like not necessarily like a said out loud rule, but something that you could like kind of look back on. But like there's like a psychoactive effect the closer to the sun you get, and that could explain. You could have had a line, and it's like, "But Wong, you're excellent at maths. How did you do this?" And like you could be like, "Wow, how the fuck did I do that?" And then you could have like, "Oh hey, Chris Evans, you're usually like a bit more fucking chill than this," and he's just like, "Yeah, I don't know why that's happening." And like if there's like a psychoactive effect of being close to the sun, because you don't know, you might you get like mirages if your brain's too heated up in the desert, like you start like hallucinating stuff, you start making errors in your judgment. Like you don't necessarily have to spell it out, but if you've got a psychiatrist character whose job it is to monitor the team, like you could maybe have him like if he's already got a big fucking massive turgid boner for the sun, like maybe that might be something that he could have hypothesized or something. I don't know. But like it just seems like a bit more of an interesting kind of concept of like the closer to the heat you are, the less your brain kind of works properly. And I don't know, like you could make something out of that. That might have tied in with the moral dilemma thing.
I think their problem was that they weren't really thinking about a lot of things. I mean, when you said that, which is a valid point, because the radiation, the fact is that Pinbecker guy would have probably been not able to move due to radiation sickness. To be frankly honest, I even forgot about that. Just like,
I would say thought he probably should have been blind.
He should have been probably dead.
That as well.
Like, that would have made sense.
He shouldn't be alive.
Yeah,
he should be alive.
Blind. He should not have had life.
How was he alive?
It's true. There's so much about him that makes no sense.
But I'll say the films about the film. There's no reason for that man to be alive.
But that was another point where the film kind of forgot its own rules. Because like when Wong's like, I fucked up, like it's because like he like miscalculates the ship, the shield, and like the sun does loads of damage to the ship and whatever. But then it doesn't do any damage to the other ship.
Yeah. But I don't know, that whole bit where he's going, look, some people when they're stressed and they're thinking about other things, sometimes they fuck up. It just sounded like something that the writers gave like an intern to do, and they were like, "Can you try and fucking justify this?" And he just like panicked, and he just wrote a bunch of stuff, and he gave it, and then he eventually came up with an answer. But then he handed in the wrong notes, and it was just like his notes going, "Sometimes people fuck up. I don't know." And then they just went, "Brilliant," and they just kept it in the script. Like it just felt so fucking lame to me, and I was like, "Can we?" This is like the second best fucking mathematician. Like, how much better is the first best must have been pretty fucking good, but like this guy's second best, really? I don't know. I just thought it was really gay. Like I really understood your point that it makes him more human, and it makes him more relatable, and it's really nice to see this happen because you don't generally see people in this setting like just fucking up and stuff, and it's like I understand all that, but I don't think that accounts for other people not checking him. I don't think this accounts for the fact that he's the second best mathematician they had to send. Like I was just like, this is so. If you're gonna do this, you could have done it like fucking 10 times better than just. Sometimes people fuck up and whatever.
But that's the thing, really. Like, I mean, it's like I said, like in kind of like these kind of situations, there would be a ton of human error. So I really like that was the road that they went down with it. Like, because yeah, like I said, I don't think you see it nearly as much as it would actually happen in these kind of situations that you see in these films. But at the same time, it was a bit of a wasted opportunity because literally all they did with it is they had him have a breakdown where he it just sort of all culminated with him going, "I fucked up." Like that was it.
Yeah, and then he disappears for the rest of the film, and then you see him again, he kills himself. It's just like,
thanks.
Yeah, and it made the whole kind of the decision to go to second ship seem even dumber, because it was just like, okay, so before you even get to the ship, you've got consequences of this dumb choice. Like, I don't think anyone watching this film is going, "Oh, yeah, that's a good idea," and it's
also,
yeah, like I said,
they're going to do it anyway.
Concept, but it's just it could have been done so much better.
Also, there's another bit where, when Chris Evans goes to grab the knife, right, and there's one missing. How would you not notice? You go, wait a minute, why would there be one missing?
There was a little Cabbage Patch child.
There's a man in the station. I could imagine it's just like Freddy Krueger with his sunglasses on, just sitting there cross-legged, like, yeah. Who the fuck you? Oh, well, yeah, I'm survived. But it would have been, I don't know if this is a bit of a faux pas or because it's been done so many times, but what they should have done is they should have found him on the ship, and they're like, "Oh fuck, he's like still alive," and then brought him on, and then they find out, then he's a complete nutter. But I think that's been done so many times. But it would have worked so much better.
You're on this ship and you go, "Oh my god, you're a complete nutter."
I mean, yeah, I was on another note similar to that.
No.
What would you think if instead, because the whole reason of going to the second ship was flimsy, and I felt like they just wanted to get the other guy onto the ship. But what if, and this, I don't know how this would work, but what if he was a stowaway instead?
There's
rather than going to the second ship to get this guy. What if they never went to the second ship and they just had him as a stowaway who then started effing things up right at the end?
There's an old short story that's like, I can't remember what it's called, but it's basically that concept, like of a spaceship taking off, and then sort of mid-flight they find out that somebody's there that they didn't realize was there. And it's a really interesting thing because obviously you've only got, like in that situation, you've only got enough resources to carry the amount of people you expect to be there. And I think if they had done something like that, you wouldn't have had that really jarring like genre switch, and I don't know. I think a lot of problems with it probably would have been avoided.
Yeah, it would have been also quite interesting kind of psychological breakdown of passengers, because at first would have been like, who's stealing more, who's taking more than they should be taking.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, it's not me. And then you have the whole Cillian kind of Chris Evans kind of like, and then, but someone else says, like Michelle will pop up, be like, but resources are missing. So it is someone. And then you've got someone, they start breaking down, math guy starts making mistakes, stuff starts effing up, and then mystery guy starts taking advantage of it, does his plan a little bit earlier, and then suddenly people start disappearing, people start blaming others, and it suddenly becomes a kind of not who done it, but they're kind of all blaming each other, breaking down, going crazy.
Thing is, the AI would have been able to tell them.
No, it wouldn't. It wouldn't.
The AI, but it didn't say that there's the name of the person, but it's like, there's someone else here. I don't know who it is.
Probably couldn't even say its own
They
fucking
would have
name.
figured that out about a week in, not 7 years into the mission. So
there's like
they wouldn't have fulfilled the mission because they would have died.
I think the thing with this AI though is it probably would have done something like, strange, there seems to be 7 of you, but you're eating enough for 8.
Anything anybody wants to tell me? I've got something to tell you. Don't tell you.
It's like y'all said before. The ship never told Cillian that there was an extra person on board. He only found out because he was just like, oh yeah, we have enough air to get there. And Icarus like, no, you don't. What you mean we don't? Of course we do. No. And he had to dig for answers.
There's a reason why they've taken the main camera.
Because if they suspected other people of stealing stuff, then they'd stop monitoring what the people are doing. Like they're like, Captain America keeps eating all the food. Then someone's gonna watch the room where the food is.
But apparently they didn't have cameras for everywhere. Otherwise they would have seen the guy.
Even stupider. There's just no way to
See, I don't mind this concept of like there being a stowaway, or if there's something where like Icarus is going, oh, all 9 of you are okay, and they're like, oh, that fucking glitch, for fuck's sake. Or like, it's a kind of a stretch, but I think there's something you could do to make it work. On the other hand, for like, if you do this whole thing where we're having a dilemma, they go to Icarus 1, realize that it's like completely like everyone's dead. Even just having the guy go onto the ship while they're not looking, and like they get alerted to it, and they're like, there's someone on the ship that we don't know about, and then they all rush back to the ship, find that the airlock's been disconnected, and they're like, fuck, we need to get back on the ship because he's alone with both of them. That's already like an immediately better, like kind of like just more exciting setting, rather than they all do what they need to do. Cillian sits down, and then she goes, another guy on the ship, by the way, and he goes, what? And then he doesn't tell anybody to go with him. He just goes by himself and to find this person. And it's just so fucking shit. Like the idea he doesn't want anybody else to go with him to check this out. Like what? But yeah, I think that would have been a better way of like just more exciting way of doing it.
You even could have like if you went for the angle of it being a stowaway and like everybody doubting the AI and like thinking that it's miscalculated things, you even could have done that with the existing scenes, because you could have had Benedict 1 going, she fucked up, and then you could have had Chris Evans going, this is Cillian Murphy's fault.
Yeah.
I really would have loved the scene for Cillian Murphy just to go like, Chris Evans, sorry, what is your fucking problem? This is absolute. I am not in fucking charge. Have you seen my haircut? I'm not in charge, man. Like, get out of here. The amount of shit he just blames him for.
The fight is so pathetic as well. They just go, every time from. It's like they've done like a whole round of boxing, and it's like, no, you just touched each other and fell over. It's like,
terrible.
But the thing is, they would have even deduced it was him, and they knew that he was a nutter because they got a transmission from him, and everything.
Picture they pull out like this cap, like this little pointy cap, and go, "You are the nutter." I have diagnosed you as the nutter.
Oh, wait a minute, there's a person on the ship. Oh, it must be this really crazy person that's probably going to kill people. Oh, we better not. But
you're the fucking nutter, mate.
Yeah, the ship is just so dumb. It's like, oh my god.
You're fucking.
I would have thought if you'd have put any calculations and the ship would be at risk of damage, then the ship would have said to the bloke, wait a minute, this is going to happen if you do this. And they go, oh, yeah, that's correct, isn't it? Oh, okay, let's change that. No, it just goes, oh, I'm going to override your thing because it's not on mission. It's like, we didn't tell you it was on mission. Nah.
Also, I took a point of acting because of the end scene where they're looking at the sun, and then the kid doesn't like make a different facial expression the whole time. He just goes,
oh yeah,
and that's all he contributes to the film.
He's
I just wanted to kind of rail it on to acting or something.
I think we're just doing a big full circle like the sun.
Very clever.
Yeah, like that whole bit at the end where it just brightens up and then it ends. It's like, yay, they did their job.
Yeah, that bit could have been really nice in a better film.
Yeah, I agree.
It's midnight, so we've been talking about this for like 2 hours now because I don't think Ben showed up till like 10 past.
Yeah, Ben.
So, like, I'm happy to carry on shitting on this.
How much shitting on it can you?
First it was Antichrist, now it's Sunshine.
I
don't think Ali likes Emmanuel.
I was defending Antichrist.
Yeah, you were.
How is this rated lower than Antichrist?
Oh, just because Antichrist had fucking genitalia in it.
Antichrist was a big piling piece of shit.
Pat, that's uncharitable, Pat. That is.
Hey, Pat, what did you say? What rated better than Antichrist?
Alec has rated this film lower than Antichrist, and I just don't understand it.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I thought Antichrist had it was incompetent, but it had a better idea behind it.
Yeah,
Did it?
2.5 versus 2.7.
It wasn't just incompetently
or
written.
2.8.
Like Antichrist at least had an idea of what it was doing.
I think the thing for me is like with Antichrist, I was kind of going like, I don't really think it's achieving what it's trying to do, but it is trying to do something.
Trying to do something.
Whereas Sunshine, it was just kind of like, like there was nothing else to it really.
Oh look, I've done a first draft and I can't be fucked.
Yeah. With Antichrist, right, it has an interesting concept. It had this whole thing about grief and the devil and all that stuff. Whereas this was just like, oh, we're going to send some dumb people on a dumb ship towards the sun, and they might die because they're dumb.
Like it or not, Sunshine did not have me walking around work, crossing my legs in sympathy for a clit I don't have.
If you showed Antichrist to the devil, he'd start sending people to heaven.
That's the Kegosaurus line. Write that down.
I think my favourite thing about this is like anytime somebody says something like mildly positive about Antichrist, Pat just goes, "Is that the case?"
It's definitely top 5 worst films I've ever seen.
What are the other 4?
One is Dragon Ball.
Yeah, exactly.
Dragon Giant.
Alien vs Predator.
That's well, I don't know how you can put it on the same level as Alien versus Predator because Alien versus Predator is so dark that you can't even see it.
No, that's the second one.
That's AVP too.
It's at least more entertaining.
I've got. Wait a minute. I want to actually find the number for this. Where the fuck is Antichrist? There it is. I've rated Antichrist
3.5
above 38
2.8.
of the films.
Actually, I'm curious to see what my stat is for that.
Well, it's better than Blues Brothers 2000.
Oh,
I actually rated Blues Brothers
better than
2000 more.
I fucking hated Sunshine, and I think it's better than Blues Brothers 2000. I'm not watching it again on purpose, but it's better than fucking Blues Brothers 2000. I don't care.
Did you give it a 0 or something?
I gave it a 0.1 because I sadly have to acknowledge it exists and that I'll watch it.
Alec, how many films are below Antichrist for you? Did you say
38?
Oh, 37 for me.
Oh, nice.
Oh man. Man.
It
I
isn't
mean,
bad after all.
for a film that bombed, it was also very it was better than the worst ones, and also scarring and sparked lots of controversial conversation.
Honestly, just from the quality of writing Sunshine has, I don't know how I'm in the minority of it being like one. I just think it's terrible.
Camilla agrees with you, Alec.
Thank you, Camilla.
He said thank you.
I'll send your money in the post tomorrow.
So how did it go down when they made it then? Did it go down pretty bad?
It got a 7.2 from IMDb. So it was
fucking hell, really?
So a lot of people, the thing is, a lot of people thought it was a decently good film. Like, it was all right. It wasn't amazing. It wasn't average, but it was kind of good, pretty good. So
the thing is, though, like, when did this come out? Like, in comparison to 28 Days Later, was it after 28 Days Later?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's Danny Boyle, and it's the same writer as 28 Days Later. So I reckon a lot of people went, "Oh, this is a winning team. It must be good." And then they probably watched it and went, "It's not very good," but I've already said it must be. And that's probably why it's got 7.2.
I can't go back on with things.
I don't think that.
Let me see who else rated it, just to see.
Considering the last line is, "Hey sis, kiss the kids."
That's just Alec hating kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Rotten Tomatoes said,
I absolutely hate kids. And if you lived in
77%.
Chatham, you would too.
If he lived in where?
Cham.
Where's Cham?
Cham in Kent.
Chatham.
If you live in Kent, it's just a depressing place.
What's wrong with
Well, you
Kent?
live in Tilbury, which is just next to Kent.
I know, it's a depressing place.
Yeah. That's
No,
why
no, Tilbury's
Why do you
depressing.
think I'm so eager to go to Brighton?
Kent is just kind of
Other than seeing
lots
Robert
of
Rachel.
space.
I just realized that this is the first time we're recording, and me and Pat have just given away our addresses.
But Kent has sanctuaries with animals and big cats and stuff, and lots of random
they're
farms.
not like African cats or anything. They're just a bit. Wild.
just tabbies.
Yeah. But what does Tilbury have? Bad internet on the other side of the train tracks and some shopping, and I don't know. It's
What
just
are you
it's
talking
not.
about, man? You just
What are you talking about, Willis?
Tilbury sucks. I agree with Pat. Yeah.
It's nothing.
Tilbury's the only place I've been to that's got like a roundabout that's also part of another roundabout, and that was very stressful for me.
I live in Kent, and I also agree with Pat.
That roundabout has caused 2 crashes.
Is that the one on the A13?
Oh man, it's awful. It's really bad. Like, I mean, I find
have
roundabouts
to
stressful at the best of times, but exiting one and going straight into another is just too much for me.
Is that the one where you go through the roundabout?
You kind of have to, because it's literally 2 roundabouts like together, and so you enter the first roundabout and then you kind of snake onto the other.
Is that the one on the A13?
No, it's off the A13. It's actually in Tilbury.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Man.
Is it the one that you go to Canvey Island?
No.
That one's pretty fucking dangerous, because
I
you
don't think I've
literally
been
do
on
that.
Yeah,
Is
it's
it
not
dangerous
nice.
as flying a bomb into the sun?
Exactly.
I've just had a look on Rotten Tomatoes, and there's a review that would be the perfect headline in any situation. It's "Cluttered storytelling undermines sunshine."
Saying that, Rotten Tomatoes still gives it 77%. An average of other kind of on Google audience reviews, 3.9. The Empire gave it 4 out of 5 stars.
Oh, fuck Empire.
I've just seen another brilliant review. It's "Don't pack a tube of SPF 50 to the theatre. Bring a can of Jolt or a double espresso."
I don't even know what that means.
like you need like some caffeine to make it through this film.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just drink coffee and food.
That's kind of fun.
What was that?
Ben looks like
That's kind of them.
What is Ben doing? Ben's lost his
Review wasn't bad
ability
enough.
to hold his tongue.
Yeah.
Ben's got that frontal lobotomy look. Are you okay, Ben?
Yeah, I'm almost done.
Oh yeah, sorry. Quick one. I didn't see Ben's reaction. I didn't see your reaction, Ben, to Rob's background at the start.
I don't think he noticed.
No, I did notice it was my background, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was your room.
But I didn't think because my computer was spazzing out. I wasn't quite sure if that was intentional or not.
I was hoping to lead a ruse that I'd decorated my room exactly like yours.
And you even spouted a little bit of ginger hair, Rob.
I was committed to the part. I was more committed to the part than Benedict one.
He just didn't spout it on his head.
Yeah, so there was more maths involved with Rob's plan.
Man, could you imagine like Rob going to those lengths to buy a Harry Potter poster just to emulate someone else's room?
I just really
All the
like his
DVDs.
decor.
All the DVDs. Puts a fake wall up.
He's just got a little picture, like just out of view, and it's Emma Watson, and he's like just occasionally just sort of just strokes it a bit.
Wow.
Oh, I'm going to include that actually in your little picture. Just a little picture of Emma Watson.
I don't have a picture of her, sadly.
Oh.
Exactly.
Yeah, this
I
is
wanted to.
your little
Yes.
photo.
Oh, that's great. I think I spot all the references, Alec, but was there Midnight Cowboy in there? I wasn't sure.
Yeah, it's your outfit.
It's what he's wearing. Ah,
Yeah, it's the jacket and the hat. I'll just put a feather in it.
excellent. That's awesome.
And then I got Galaxy Quest, and I got the little face from Moon,
Moon,
and then I got the Gremlins box,
the Gremlins book, and
and he's looking at a fly.
the fly. What about falling down? Was that the revolver thing?
No, I chose not to acknowledge falling down.
This film doesn't exist.
Okay, Ben, your film.
Good.
Okay, my next film would be one that most of you are aware of seen before, or perhaps would want to see again. It is Seven.
So
David
Seven.
Fincher,
Ah,
starring Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman.
is that the one after?
Ah. Have I
The one
watched
after
this?
6.
Oh my gosh, great film. I have it on DVD, except I haven't seen it on DVD.
I've never seen it, Ben.
It's really
You haven't
good.
seen it?
God, I don't think I've seen it either.
It's playing on Netflix, so it's free for everyone. So you don't need to rent it.
I've actually got it on DVD already, which is so it's not annoying to know it's on Netflix.
Cool. Nice, thanks, Ben.
Ben,
Awesome.
make sure you put it in the Facebook group.
Yeah,
I'm
Ben.
about to add it right now.
Sweet.
Cool.
Oh,
I'm
Pat
gonna
is
go
in the
now.
Facebook group and doesn't tell
See
me.
you later.
Bye, Manuel.
So,
See you in a little
sorry.
bit,
Pick
man.
me, I'll see you
He's on
next
the
time.
news.
Thanks.
Bye,
See you in a
Camilla.
bit, man. That was a really nice
Thanks.
call. Good pick, man.
Bye, man.
Thanks.
Bye.
And Dan,
Bye.
you're still the video guy, yeah? For the wedding. All right, thanks. Cool, thanks. Bye.
Yeah, whether you like it or not.
No, we'll talk about it later all together at some point. All
Yeah,
right, see you. Bye.
we'll see what happens.
See you, dude.
Bye, dude.
See you
See
later.
you next week.
So,
Cool. I posted it in the group anyway.
So
don't keep recording.
I went